All right. So, the New York Times asked 21 out of the 22 Democratic candidates for the presidency um, the very simple 18 questions. All right. Some have a lot to do with what could happen in each president's term within office if they are elected, and some just really don't matter at all. Joe Biden, I believe, is the only one that decided to refuse to answer the questions or just did not accept the invitation. So in front of me, we have 18 questions, every single question. I'm going to do my best to answer each question as bluntly and as honestly as I possibly could, considering I think that would be a rarity when it comes down to people answering these questions. So, the first question is, in an ideal world, would anyone own handguns? Now, I'm interested as to why they placed the word handguns as opposed to any guns or all guns. But I think I have a reasonable understanding of why that reasoning may be. I would go ahead and say that in an ideal world, no one would feel the need to own handguns. I doubt that's any. I mean, well, you know what? Maybe that's something one of the candidates said. I haven't seen any of these answers or any of the candidates answer any of these answers, mostly because I don't want to use up my three incredibly meaningful articles remaining for the website. So I would say that in an ideal world, you wouldn't feel the need to own or utilize a handgun. There would be no need for it. There would be no worry that you would have to utilize a handgun, at least a handgun in specific, to handle. But if it's a yes or no in an ideal world, would anybody have the right to own a gun? Yes. If they went through the right process, the correct process, and the safe process, yes. As long as you can legally obtain a handgun, you deserve to have a handgun. You've earned that privilege. What you do with that afterwards is beyond me. That is completely on you. Number 2, would your focus be improving the Affordable Care Act or replacing it with single payer? I think the Affordable Care Act has the basic structure down. I think at the end of the day, it's a fundamental right for a human being to not have to be forced into bankruptcy because their spleen explodes or because their appendix ruptures. So I think at the end of the day, whatever can get us closer to the goal of not being bankrupted by something that is completely out of our control is a step in the right direction. I think the Affordable Care Act has the basic structure. I think it has the right goal in mind. I just think it's gone about it in the wrong way to an extent. But we have a good thing in the Affordable Care Act if we can manage to clean it up. If we can get everything sort of put in a neat order instead of the jumbled mess I've seen it kind of played around with, I think it could be one of the best things that our healthcare system has seen in the entire history of the country. I just think it takes the right mind to kind of get the ACA to where it needs to be. But aside from that, I don't know. I've heard plenty of people make the argument that it's been damaged beyond recognition. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything typically tends to be damaged beyond recognition. I just think the more damaged something is, the longer it takes to fix. The ACA is still in its infancy when you compare it to many other rules, regulations, laws, standards, whatever it may be that we've put in place. So I think I don't think it's been completely damaged beyond repair, but I think it takes the right mind to improve it in the correct way. As I said, it's kind of like the skeleton. It's put together with the right goal in mind, and it's put together in a sturdy-like fashion. I just think it went about it afterwards. It just went about it the wrong way. So I would put my focus towards improving it. And if nothing typically happens and it proves to be something that just looks sturdy but just crumbles beneath its own weight, then we explore alternatives. Number 3, do you think it's possible for the next president to stop climate change? No. Just like curing cancer, I don't necessarily think it's as easy as, nope, it's gone. For one, I don't think we necessarily even know fully what starts. I know climate change is a thing. It absolutely is. I'm from Connecticut. 10 years ago, we were getting our first snowfall a few days before Halloween. And now, when we get to the wintertime, my birthday's in February. We haven't even seen the first snowfall many years until after my birthday. So that's a big, big jump. And that doesn't just happen out of the blue. I think global warming is absolutely a thing. What causes it, I think, is up for debate. I've heard plenty of people talk about carbon emissions, and I've heard plenty of people talk about how much we're using out of the... Christ alive. Fucking cats, man. Where was I? Fuck it, I don't care. I think that at the end of the day, we don't necessarily have 100% certainty as to what is causing global warming. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be that easy to the point where we can just figure it out in the next 8 years and then move on like nothing. There are plenty of different obstacles that the next president, whether it be Trump in his second term or another candidate taking over for his first term as the next president, I think they're going to be dealing with many different things that need to be repaired, such as voter fraud, illegal immigration, since that's become a big topic of concern amongst the American people as of Donald Trump's presidency, and his main focus on that, as well as domestic and international crisis and affairs such as Flint, Michigan's water crisis. Obviously, at the end of the day, the next president could experience the San Andreas fault, completely go fucking awry, and California be damaged beyond recognition. That could happen at any point in time, and it could happen to the next president. I think there are going to be plenty of different things, both in the country and outside of the country, that are also going to need to focus on very clearly, which will take away from any president that says, hey, they want to, cure climate change, completely do away with climate change and kind of figure out a strategy or figure out a plan within the next 8 years or at least 4 years of their presidency to fix shit. I think there are too many things on the table for someone to say, I'm going to stop this completely during my term. So no, I don't think it's possible for the next president to stop climate change. Number 4, do you think Israel meets international standards of human rights towards its own people, perhaps, but towards the Palestinians, absolutely not. I think what they're doing is vile, and I think they are moving in the complete opposite direction. Simple as that. Number 5, who's your hero and why? Don't really have a hero. Just never been a guy that really had a hero. Yeah, I've got nothing. I don't really have a hero. Number 6, would there be American troops in Afghanistan at the end of their first term? Let's see, how many are remaining in Afghanistan? I think I heard something like 75,000. So you got 4 years to naturally take out 75,000 troops from Afghanistan, or at least 4 years. Would that even be possible? Think about it on a yearly basis. Think about how many troops you would have to take out on a yearly basis in order to get to that, just in 4 years, just to get every one of the 75,000 out of the country. Let's see. It'd be close to 21.5 million each year. I don't think it'd necessarily even be possible to take that many troops out of Afghanistan within such a short amount of time and expect things to be all right. Because then it just feels kind of like you've jumped out and abandoned in the middle of the night. And you don't really want to Baltimore Colts it. I think there would be, no matter who is the president. I don't think you can get away with taking out 75,000 troops from a country that is still very much in need of some help within such a short amount of time. So it doesn't matter how or who the president may be. I think no matter what the case may be, at the very least, the first term or Trump's second term, there will still be American troops in Afghanistan. And if you've got 8 years and you got 2 terms of a presidency, you've got just about maybe 9.5 million each year. Probably doing my mathematics wrong, but 9.5 million each year, that's more doable. That's a better plan. Not even 9.5, probably maybe 11 million, 11.5 million, probably 11.5 to 12 million each year. That would be, or no, I'm sorry. Why am I talking about millions? No, it's 75,000. Fucking hell, I'm an idiot. Oh, god damn. Wait a minute. Oh my god. I've been thinking about millions the entire fucking time. There's not millions in Afghanistan. There's thousands, for Christ's sakes. My god, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I don't vote for me. 75,000. Yeah, that's doable. Christ, I was thinking about millions for so fucking long. Wow. My apologies. That was ridiculous. You can tell it is early in the morning. That's really no excuse. 75,000 troops remaining. Yeah. Yeah, bring out like 30,000. No, that's a bad idea. Bring out like 17,000 a year. Probably more than that, 17,000 plus a year. Yeah, you can do that, even in one term. Christ alive, I went absolutely off tracks. So, well, the question is, would there be American troops in Afghanistan at the end of the first term? Probably a few thousand, just to kind of keep everything in order. It's still very, I mean, even despite talking about millions instead of thousands, Afghanistan is still really in need of some help in some way. I think at least a few thousand would be there just to kind of keep everything in order. Number 7, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? Clearly not much. Depends on the night. If it's a night where I have to travel, probably very little, because I'm worried about something going wrong. And if it's a night in which it's a regular night, maybe 6 to 7. Probably closer to 5 to 6, but yeah, probably 5 to 7 hours a night. Number 8, do you think illegal immigration is a major problem in the United States? I think illegal immigration is a problem no matter where the case may be, as to whether or not it is a major problem in the United States. I think it would be up there. I think, for one, our national debt is still something we need to focus on. For number 2, I think that the healthcare system is absolutely one of the top priorities. you may call me crazy, but I think corruption and bribery within whatever industry it may be, anywhere from a global entity like FIFA to a smaller sort of and a smaller entity such as a 3 or 4 store. What's the word I was going to use? Chain. Fuck it, we'll go with chain. A chain store of sorts, a smaller store, maybe not 3 or 4, but like 10. I don't know. Fucking hell, I'm talking out of my ass now. 10 store, 10 fucking hell. What the hell is wrong with me today? Christ alive. You can see just how little I want to do this shit anymore. I think corruption is a major issue that needs to be kind of cut down on, because it's essentially become something that runs industries today. It's something that powers industries. It's something that something fucking hell. Yes, it's a major problem. I'm going way off the rails. All right, you know what? Take a drink of water and get right back on the right track, because this is so far gone horribly wrong. Man, I really don't like doing this. All right. Number 9. Inside number 9. Where would you go on your first international trip as president? North Korea. I'd probably go to North Korea. See what the fuck is going on with the Hermit Kingdom. That's pretty much the question. Number 10. Describe the last time you were embarrassed. Why? Ever since I got out of middle school, I didn't really look at anything as embarrassing. I looked at it more along the lines of just something that I could take with stride and make something funny or humorous out of it. Probably, I don't know, farting in the middle of class. I don't fucking. Probably farting in the middle of class in the 8th or 7th or 6th grade or whatever the fuck it may be. Yeah, probably around that. I guess I don't really look at things as embarrassing. I typically tend to look at them with a positive outlook and then try to make something bigger or more fun out of them. Yeah. Number 11. Do you think President Trump has committed crimes in office? Probably. Most likely. I'll put it this way. I would not be surprised. Number 12. Do you support or oppose the death penalty? I support it in specific cases, though with a much safer method than lethal injections. If you mow down an entire family and an entire group of protesters and aren't cowardly enough to off yourself, and you get arrested, you should be sentenced to the death penalty to take that amount of lives, and then be allowed to continue your own in a more confined space, whilst forcing taxpayers to spend more money on your oxygen wasting ass unworthy of life. I think, yeah, at that point in time, you should be offed. Those kind of people should be hanged in public squares. I think George Carlin, I reference George Carlin a lot, but I think George Carlin had a great bit on that, where some jackasses that do heinous shit should just be like hung or hanged, I think is the proper way of saying it. Hanged in the middle of like the halftime of the Super Bowl. That should be the halftime entertainment. Yeah, fuckers like that. The Colorado movie theater shooter. They should have been hanged in the middle of. Probably should have been hanged in the fucking lawn of the White House. Yeah, absolutely. Those kind of assholes are a burden to society that don't deserve life, and to give them free health care and to allow them to live and us to have to pay for that, I think that's atrocious. No. I support the death penalty in cases like that. However, in things like drug trafficking and such, no. Unless it's, unless they're wrong. No, that is not something that deserves the death penalty. Even killing your family, probably life in prison. But a terrorist crime or something far worse than that, like the Columbine shooters, had they not killed themselves, yeah, hang them in a public setting. At that point in time, hell, even lethal injection, just give them the injection without, just give them the injection without any sort of sedative. You may call that inhumane, even to a prisoner, but at the end of the day, doctors aren't allowed to administer those drugs. Oftentimes, it's the prison guards that are meant to administer those drugs. So that's more inhumane than hanging. But at the end of the day, perhaps death by 1,000 cuts on the White House lawn for fucking Joshua Komisarjevsky, maybe. But yeah, people like the Columbine shooters and the Aurora movie theater shooter and the Boston bombers, those fuckers don't deserve life, and they definitely don't deserve to live because we pay for them. That's not how that works. All right, I don't give a shit about being an American citizen, proud to pay taxes to the country you love. You don't give scum of the earth health care for free and then force actively working people to die of the flu. That's not right. At that point in time, yeah, hell, I'd go as far as to make it as painful as possible. You forced 18, or like if you shot up a movie theater and killed 18, that's 18 families and then some that you just put into a lifetime of suffering. You should have at least a lifetime of suffering within 5 minutes. So yeah, 1,000 cuts would be nice. Let's see. Number 13, should tech giants like Facebook, Amazon, and Google be broken up? No. It's simple business. If you manage to build an empire because of an idea or because of something that was yours, and you can still manage to soak up other companies into your own umbrella, no the fuck, you should not be broken up. Right? And anybody that suggests that is just essentially jealous of your failure, or is just essentially jealous of your success. No. Maybe Jeff Bezos, fucking Mark Zuckerberg, say what you want about him. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, they earned their money. All right. They have more money than me, sure. It'd be, I guess, fun to have that sort of money. I could do the whole Donald Duck cartoon jumping into a pile of coins and then shatter my fucking collarbone. But at the end of the day, they've earned that money. They did something. They were ahead of the game in something. They were the one out of billions to do something that caught on, and they managed to do it right, and they managed to take advantage of every situation they were ever involved in. They have earned that money. They deserve that money. They do not deserve to have to take it away. If they were evading taxes, if they were doing so, for one, if they were trying to evade specific tax, like fucking healthcare for prisoners, such as, so on and so forth, then at that point in time, that's not a big deal because nobody should have to. But at the end of the day, if they're evading taxes or they had to kill, oppositions and sabotage from within other businesses that gave them a run for their money, at that point in time, then that's questionable. There you go. But aside from that, no, if you do proper business and you are the one out of now 7 billion to have an idea that makes you a billionaire, you deserve every dollar, every penny of that $1 billion. And you shouldn't have that taken away because people are jealous. All right, that's not how life works. Get used to that. No, tech giants like Facebook, Amazon, and Google should not be broken up. They've managed to build up their empires single-handedly and from what they've earned. If they had to buy another company, right, they bought it with the money they earned, right? They built their empire. They deserve to keep it. Number 14, are you open to expanding the size of the Supreme Court? No. Number 15, When did your family first arrive in the United States, and how? My great-grandparents migrated from Portugal into the country. And not too sure about my father's side, but I'm pretty sure his great-grandparents migrated to the United States from Holland or the Netherlands, Dutch. So I'm Portuguese and Dutch more so than I am anything else other than United States citizen, American, obviously. I mean, whether you call me, I don't know, Hispanic or Latino, I don't know what you would describe somebody that wasn't from Cuba or Puerto Rico. I'm currently residing in Waterbury, Connecticut temporarily, so we've definitely got plenty of Hispanics and Latinos being just out and about doing their thing, living their lives. But I've heard, I mean, considering I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost's bleached asshole, I'm so fucking white, you can consider me Caucasian and nothing else, and I would not be surprised. But at the end of the day, because I'm Portuguese, a lot of people tend to look at the Portuguese and go Latino, so, or not Latino, or no, I think just Hispanic. It's always confused me, but one way or another, that's a whole different topic. But I think it was 3 generations prior. I think that's what the 3 generations prior to me. They came to the United States, and I've essentially just the chain has become more Americanized as you've gone along. My grandmother lived in New York and then Massachusetts and Connecticut for a while. Then she had a daughter that just stayed in Connecticut all her life, and now I'm here. I've gone from Connecticut to New York to Connecticut to New York. Connecticut, you can get the point. So. And how? I don't know. Oh, who the fuck knows? Number 16. What is your comfort food on the campaign trail? So just my comfort food. I don't know how that's going to solve anything. I don't know how that even shows anything about who the candidates are. And if it does, then hell yeah, Gillibrand, because I saw whiskey. But that was her answer. My comfort food. Maybe ice cream or a powdered donut. Who the fuck knows? Brownie, maybe? Whatever. It's not a fucking serious question, right? Number 17. What do you do to relax? No. Write? Play video games? I don't fucking know. Either of those. Why not? And number 18. Does anyone deserve to have $1 billion? If you've earned it, yeah, absolutely. Simple as that. All right, so that's all the questions. Wonderful. Well, that was not as easy as I originally thought it would be in the first half, and I didn't think it was going to be easy at all. I just didn't think it would be so fucking lost. But one way or another, we got through it, and that's perfectly fine. We didn't do it too well, but whatever.